What's going on, everybody? My name is Ben, and welcome back to the bench for a brand new episode here on Sci-Fi Wednesdays. That's right, guys. After a little bit of a hiatus, we are back at it, and I have got a special project planned that actually was a commissioned build by a good friend and colleague of mine from work. This is going to be something I've always wanted to build, and I'm going to really try my hardest to get this thing looking awesome. We're going to go ahead and build this. This is the 1/32nd scale Anakin Skywalker's Podracer model kit from AMT. This is a rebox kit from the original production back in 1999, and this thing looks awesome. I can't wait to jump in here. Episode 1 is actually one of my favorite of the prequel series, and it's mostly because of the Podracer scene and Duel of the Fates. I've always wanted to build this kit and do something cool with it, maybe put it on a base, maybe pose it in a cool way, so that's what we're going to plan on doing. So I thought we'd go ahead and take a look at the kit, get into it, and talk a bit about our plans. So just diving into the parts themselves, they look okay. This is a reboxing of the 1999 kit, so some of the parts are a little bit thicker than I would see in more contemporary kits. We have a little bit of flash here and there are a lot of parts here. So we have to build 2 engines, connecting rods, plus the pod. So there's going to be quite a few sub-assemblies, and so far, just giving you a quick close-up here on the parts, they don't look too bad. Like I said, a little thick here, but nicely molded details. We're going to have to come in here and do a little bit of thinning on a couple of these parts, but they look good. Even considering how old they are, they do look good. Molded in wires, molded in details. We got our molded fan blades. We've got some great looking engines, and these are multi-part engines, and they will allow quite a bit of room on the inside, and they're very prominent in this kit. So we've got wires, we've got different sort of louvers and vents. This is going to be something we can really sink our teeth into. The pod itself is actually very nice looking. We've got a couple of openings here for different antennas and wires and whatnot. We've got our couplers that go ahead and link pod to the engines. We also have the bottom section that actually pieces together and creates kind of that tub effect. We've got side locating tabs for our attachments to the engines, and there are a bit of flash on these parts, as you can see. However, though, this is from 1999, so these might have seen a little bit of action for sure. It does come with a base, and the base is actually very nice looking. However, we're going to change it up a little bit. We're not going to be using the kit supplied base. I've got an idea, but you can see it's got raised detail. It's got some locating tabs for the wires that it gives you for supports, and it comes with a neat little sign right here that says Anakin's Podracer. So that might be something I might be able to utilize. We'll have to see when we get to that point. Now, the one drawback of the kit is Anakin isn't necessarily the nicest of molds. He's got a lot of very soft detail, but I think we paint him up decently, throw a couple of washes on him, I think it'll be passable. Again, this is an older kit, so I don't think we can buy a replacement for Anakin, so we're just going to run with him and see how we can do. Otherwise, cockpit looks pretty decent, so I think it's going to go together well. We also, of course, have our front instrument panels, our front coping, and all of this stuff right here, and we might be able to go ahead and throw some LEDs or maybe some fiber optics in there, add a little bit more spice to it. So we're going to have to get into that a little bit later, though, once I start piecing this together and figure out how all the wires will be routed. But I think there is some big potential here to make this thing look awesome. Now, each engine will have 3 of these fins that stick off the front of the engine, and in the movie they open and close, and they kind of adjust themselves as the pod is flying through the air. Here in the kit, we're given 2 different attachment points, one that will bring them out and one that will bring them closed. And I might do a little bit of something and kind of change it up a little bit, do a few that are closed and a few that are open. I like the look of the open and closed ones kind of being right next to each other to give it a little bit more action, so that might be something to consider. We'll see when we get there, but that's something I'm thinking about. We are also given the front windscreen that is actually layered in a protective coating to keep that nice and safe, and we're given the coupler that actually goes between the 2 engines. As you can see, it's molded in kind of this pinkish clear plastic, which is interesting, but I have a different idea that I might actually use and replace these. Now, this kit does come with a full sheet of decals for all the different markings, and as you can see, they do require a little bit of careful placement. We've got those front designs for each of those extensions. We've got the blue stripes, and we've got little details here in the front and all the cool lettering. So this blue is very similar to the Tamiya flat blue. So if I wanted to go ahead and paint these, I most likely could, but it would take a lot of clever masking and probably trimming off some of these letters. I don't really know if I want to do that just yet. So we'll see when we get there, but they look good, so hopefully they'll react well to water and decal setting solutions. Now, the instruction manual is a little bit lackluster. They do have enough parts and pieces and diagrams to kind of show you what's going going on and where things are supposed to be glued together. However, they don't have a lot of extra detail, and some of the detail is a little bit on the softer side. It's very reminiscent of the 90s style of instruction manuals. As you can see, we have step-by-step instructions, and we do notice that the cockpit itself is actually an inner tub that is sandwiched between the lower portion and the upper portion, which gives us a possibility, if we want to light up those instrument panels, to have extra room for lights, fiber optics, all of that stuff. We are going to have our work cut out for us for sure, but I think the instructions will get us through. Now, I mentioned a couple of ideas here, and one of my ideas is to use some LED filaments. We've got some soft white LED filaments, and we've got some of these pinkish violet color LED filaments that I might be able to use for the coupler between the two engines. Now, I know we're given a part for that, but if I can replace it with an actual glowing LED, that might be kind of cool, I have to admit. Now, the soft white ones would be for the engines. I kind of have an idea that I might be able to kind of wrap it around that center post, go ahead and light those up. Now, let me go ahead and show you guys here. This is one of the filaments. I use these exact same brand of filaments on my Grievous, and they worked great. So I don't see them being any sort of trouble. I think they're going to be perfect for this application. As you can see, they are very flexible, and these are a bit on the longer side. We'll have to do a lot of light blocking though, because there's a lot of open spaces in there. But as you can see though, I think we poke two holes, we put negative and positive through each of the holes, wrap it around, we're good to go. We also have these violet pinkish color LED filaments, and these I intend on using for the coupler between the two engines. As you can see in the movie, they kind of have these almost like a lightning effect that goes across from engine to engine, tethering them together. I don't necessarily want to just use the plastic part. I want to go ahead and try to spice it up a little bit, and I might be able to take these filaments, twist them, turn them around, poke them through each of the engines, and then run my wires up from the base into the engines and then attach here for positive and negative. To give you guys an idea of the coloring here, let's go ahead and just hold them together on this coin cell battery just to get you an idea what it looks like. Won't be a perfect connection obviously, but you can see these do glow very much like a fluorescent pinkish color, so I think that's going to look really cool as the tether between the two engines. That would be a really nice effect. And for the engines, as you can see here, these are just warm white. They're nothing too fancy. They are the closest color I could find for the engines. They look good, got that nice warm LED glow about them. Again, a lot of light blocking is going to be required with this because these are pretty bright, and I do intend on running them just off of one 3-volt battery pack. I think it's going to be interesting to see how it comes together. But that is it, guys. That is what we're going to be working on for the next couple of weeks. Anakin's Podracer. We've got a lot of work cut out for us though, with the different engine lights, with the tether between the two engines, and of course with the Podracer, the cockpit itself, adding in some LEDs, maybe adding in some fiber optics. Plus painting is going to be very tedious. Got some different yellows, blues, reds, silvers, so we have a lot of work to do on this, and I think honestly it's going to be a blast. Plus the base, we'll have to see how the model speaks to us once we get going into it. But until our next episode, guys, thank you so much for watching. You guys know the drill. Go out there, get yourself some bench time, have some fun, build something cool. Make sure to come on back next episode when we're going to crack into the engine, try to figure out how this all goes together, and maybe string in some LEDs. So thanks for watching, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you soon.